Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we have another brand new PNSO figure to look at. It's another one of these 1/35th scale figures, and it is actually the second version of this dinosaur you are looking at right here, which just so happens to be Wilson the Tyrannosaurus Rex. As I said, there was a previous version that was released quite a few years ago, and now they have altered the paint scheme a bit and given us a new version, which is always fun to have two different versions. Then you can have like a mating pair if you do own the previous one. But regardless, you can see a very nice image there on the front of the box. And then if we look at the side, we've got the same usual PNSO info. It says 1/35th scale and all that fun stuff. So let's get this out of the box and take a look at it. Straight away, we do get, as usual, one of these PNSO booklets that has all sorts of wonderful stuff here about the Tyrannosaurus Rex. You can see another image there of Wilson, and unfortunately, we are in the Chinese section. There we go. There is the English section, which has, like I said, all sorts of very cool stuff to look at, read, beautiful images of the Rex himself, and then in here, there we go, I was going to say somewhere in here, I know we've got an image of the skeletal structure inside the body, a nice silhouette of the body there. So, as always, very cool on the part of PNSO to include these booklets. And there is the brand new 2019 version of Wilson the Tyrannosaurus Rex. At first glance, I could say that it does look very cool, and I notice immediate differences in the paint compared to the previous version. It's actually quite different. I think the only similarities really at this point are the fact that they both have brown on them and some black. But again, it does look very cool. You've got a nice base here that appears to be slightly different than the previous one. And overall, I'm quite excited to get a closer look, so let's go ahead and do that now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of the Rex, you can see, as was the same with the previous Rex, the head sculpt is absolutely beautiful. If you do have this model previously, this version is the exact same version as far as the sculpt goes that we had received previously from PNSO. You can see the very nicely sculpted nostril up there, beautiful detailing all around the eye, very nice small minute details have been sculpted all around the eye, making it look very realistic. All the scale work and everything on the face looks very nice as well. All sorts of very small minute scales that look really beautiful. We have actually reviewed the sculpt before, but it was so long ago that I reviewed it that we will take a look at it here again. As with the previous release, there is an articulated jaw. You can see the teeth look quite nice in there. The inside of the mouth is really quite nicely painted. Very realistic coloration in there. And there's all sorts of beautiful sculpt and detail included in the mouth. The teeth overall look pretty nice. They don't really look like they're sloppily painted or anything, so that's a definite plus. One thing I can say that right off the bat that I'm noticing here is how insanely nice looking the eyes are. And if I can get my camera to focus, I'm very close right now, which it's just not going to do it. There we go. Look how beautiful that eye looks. And it has such a realistic gloss on it. That's like one of the first things I noticed was how real looking the eye is. I don't know if I can get a nice shot on this side. There, a little bit. Look how beautiful that is. So the eyes look very, very real, and that is a huge step in the right direction compared to the previous release, because I think the only real downside to the previous one might have been the eyes. I think the eyes look nice, but these eyes look a lot nicer than the previous version. As you can see all over the head sculpt, they appear to have put a wash on it, and it's kind of like a very light tan type of coloration that they've included all over actually the entire body, it seems. All throughout the back and everything, you can see that it really nicely elaborates the detail. I'm not too sure how much I like it on the face though. I'm not sure why, but I think maybe the light wash looks a little weird on the face, but it still looks pretty nice. It really nicely brings out the detail and sculpt up here on the top of the head. I will say that. Look how beautiful it looks. And you can really get an idea of all the incredible work that went into this as far as the sculpt goes. You can see it is primarily a brown, and again that light tan type wash that brings out the detail, but it also starts some black striping up here on the top of the neck, and it kind of runs the course of the entire back. As we move down here, you can see the shoulder blade is really beautifully protruding from the skin. You can come down into those very nice looking Rex arms, and the nails are painted really beautifully. They look very nice. Incredible sculpt work here on the underside and the underbelly as well. Look at that incredible sculpting of the scales. They look just absolutely beautiful. Very nice skin texture and lots of skin folds and wrinkling of the skin in the stomach region, really giving you a strong vision of this being a large animal, which it exactly is what it would be. And you can also take note of the rib cage there a little bit. But I really love the way that the skin has been sculpted here on the side. So many different skin folds and wrinkles and everything that it just looks absolutely real. And I love that. Absolutely beautiful looking area. A nice pale coloration here, almost a linen for the side of the stomach, and the underbelly is that same type of color, and I think it looks beautiful on this as well. You can also take note to many different variations of brown throughout the body here, giving it a very nice look as far as the skin tone goes, a very realistic look. And once again, you can take note of that light tan wash that's been included to really make all the detail and sculpt pop to you. Beautiful sculpting here on the leg. You can see all sorts of osteoderms and everything. Very nice, very fine musculature as we come down the leg. Huge calf muscle. Again, you can take note of that light tan wash. And there's some very nice browns that have been really put into this. All sorts of different variations of browns. Really looks nice. I love the way that they painted that. And then you can move down into the foot. The foot also looks really nice. Nicely painted nails. There doesn't appear to be any sloppiness. The nails are a grayish color. They look very good as well. Then we start to move out the tail. You can again take note of some nice skin wrinkling and skin folds hanging down here on the bottom of the tail. And really just look at the way that the skin is sculpted on the tail. As I turn it, you can get a great idea just how real that looks. It's really kind of just telling the tale of the movement of the dinosaur just through the way the skin has been sculpted. Very nicely done. Beautiful attention to detail as always from PNSO. And again, you can see some osteoderms and everything here as you run out the length of the tail with that very nice large rex scaling going on. And then you run out to the very long tip of the tail with a nice point there. And you can again take note of those stripes that do run the entire length of the body. Although the black is a little bit more faint than what we saw on Wilson #1, this one has more striping going on compared to the previous one, and I definitely like those stripes. I think they look quite nice. As we look at this side, again, beautiful head sculpt. We can see all sorts of variants of brown all throughout the head sculpt as we move back into the neck. Again, all sorts of wrinkling of the skin and beautiful skin folding going on, showing the movement again of the dinosaur. We come down into the shoulder blade again, and I really like the way the skin is reacting here as the arm is connected to the body, again showing you how the movement of the dinosaur is really being beautifully portrayed in the sculpt. That looks very, very cool. You can again see some osteoderms up here in the shoulder area. Beautiful skin texture here in the stomach region once again, showing again that very large type of a look. It just really looks like a large animal. You can take note of the rib cage there as I turn it a little bit. You can really see how the skin is being pulled here as this leg is stepping back, and right here in this general area, the skin being pulled looks very real and is sculpted really nicely, and it actually reacts all the way up here into the stomach. So beautiful touch again from PNSO. Very nice leg muscles here, and some osteoderms, great scaling, all sorts of wrinkling of the skin going on as we run down the leg. You can see the kneecap there. Beautiful calf muscles, very large, very bulging. And then we move down into the foot. This foot also looks very nice. Beautiful sculpt, nicely painted nails, no sloppiness once again. And then you run out the length of the tail, you can again see some skin folding and some wrinkling going on. And that beautiful movement of the tail and the skin being portrayed throughout the tail looks very nice. You can again pick up on that striping that runs out the entire length of the tail as we get to the end once again. And looking at the underside again, it really sports some beautiful sculpt and everything all over the place. Absolutely beautiful. And as far as the base goes, you can see so many different variations of color all throughout the base. Beautiful vegetation. You've got some downed logs and some rocks and stones and stuff all throughout. The overall sculpting of the base is fantastic, just like you always get from PNSO. There's just so much to it, and there's absolutely no laziness as far as this goes. So much color and paint put into the base, making it look very, very real and very beautiful. Really a striking look to go with a striking dinosaur, and I think the base overall just looks absolutely beautiful. One thing that you might notice on this one, however, is that there's a peg here and a peg there. Now, as I stated, there are pegs, so you gotta find the holes in the bottom of the feet, match the holes up with the pegs, which sometimes can be a task If you are someone who has previously had dinosaur figures that have the whole peg deal to get it to stay on, you know how hard and complicated it can be sometimes to get the pegs in the right spots. But there we go. Mr. Wilson is now on his base and looks quite awesome. As far as a size goes on Wilson the Tyrannosaurus Rex, from the tail to the head, you're looking at about 14.5 inches or 37 centimeters. And for a height, of course, this is on the base, you were looking at about 6.5 inches or about 16.5, almost 17 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Green Papa Rex, and you can see that they size actually quite nicely together. They look like they're about the same scale and really quite match up very nicely. Again, the Green Rex is standing more in an upward position, whereas Wilson is in a lower type of a position and has his tail stretched out a lot further. So maybe if our Papa Rex had his tail stretched out, they might be about the same size. So that should give you a pretty good idea, though, that PNSO's Wilson is a decently sized figure, as the Papa Rex is a pretty large figure, so that would mean that so is Wilson. And for another comparison, here is the previous release of Wilson next to the new release of Wilson. You can see that there are significant differences as far as the paint goes and just how different they look. Even if we get close to the face, you can see how real the eye looks on the new Wilson and how not so real the eye looked on the previous Wilson. Not so much that it didn't look real, I think the orange paint there around the inside of the eye was just maybe a little bit too much for it, but it still looked absolutely beautiful. I am actually a huge fan of the previous Wilson, and this new Wilson is definitely very nice as well. I kind of feel like I'm partial to the original. I don't know why, something about that. Maybe it's just like the black spots all over just make it look so cool. But this new one is also quite nice. You can see though that they are in fact the exact same dinosaur. There is no difference in the sculpt or anything. Exactly the same, but two very cool different versions of this Tyrannosaurus Rex sculpt. So our new version of Wilson is quite cool. I like the paint scheme. I like the idea of the striping and the browns and all that included. Again, I'm not a huge fan of that light tan wash they've done. I think it kind of drowned out a little bit of the color of the head, and overall is a little strange looking. I think it works good up on the back to really show the beautiful scales and everything. I think it looks really nice there, but maybe not so much on the face. Overall, I still think it looks really, really nice, and the wash, at the same time that it looks a little weird, also gives it some nice color variation, so that is a plus on the part of the wash. But at the same time, like I said, I think it's more specifically just the face. It makes it look a little weird with that wash, but at the same time, this Rex is still really beautiful. As far as the sculpt goes, the sculpt is absolutely fantastic. If you are looking for a very nice, very realistic looking scaly Rex, maybe you're one of those guys that aren't into the feathered versions, which I can go for both, but I am kind of partial to the scaly Rex just because that's the type I grew up with. This is a very nice sculpt as far as a scaled Rex goes. This is absolutely beautiful. It looks like a very large, very old Tyrannosaurus Rex that is a kind of a grizzled veteran of the Cretaceous period, and it's something that I really like is the sculpt of this. I've always been a big fan of the Wilson sculpt, and it's nice to see it getting even more praise and more use here with a second version. I will say that it definitely appears as though they made quite a few modifications as far as the paint goes from the time that they took the promotional images, as it does look a decent bit different than what you see on the actual box, but I still think that it really looks quite good and really gives me the feeling of it just being a very old, haggard, but quite the seasoned veteran as far as a Tyrannosaurus Rex goes. It's kind of similar actually to Jurassic Park, where you see that Rexy, as she gets older, is kind of fading. She's not so vibrant and bright anymore as far as her color goes, and that's really honestly the same feeling I get from this Rex. It really gives me the same type of a feeling and the same type of a look as Rexy does in Jurassic World, as this Rex here does in front of me. More like the older Wilson is like a younger version, and this is an older version that has seen and been through quite a bit and has started to fade the colors a little bit compared to what he once used to look like. The base itself also looks really, really nice. The paint applied all looks incredible. The sculpting of the base is also beautiful. There's just so much work that has been put into the base, almost as much as you see on the actual Tyrannosaurus itself. So again, an awesome base, an awesome Tyrannosaurus Rex. Really, really nice looking, and those eyes on the new version just look absolutely real. I love the eyes. It's probably my favorite part of this whole thing, is just how realistic looking the eyes look. Honestly, you kind of just need to get one, see it in person, and then you'll be able to agree with me just how real and beautiful those eyes look in person. Again, a very nice looking Tyrannosaurus Rex, another very cool release from PNSO. So if you are interested in this Tyrannosaurus Rex, I will link you in the description to the PNSO store where you can buy one for yourself. Ordering from the Amazon PNSO store is an absolute awesome way to go when it comes to picking up PNSO figures, because they have probably the best customer service that you're going to find. They ship very quickly, and they are just in general an all-around great group of people to deal with. So if you do want to order this, check the description, head on over there, buy Wilson version 2, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.